All right, welcome back. Man, if you've been watching baseball this past week, you gotta be feeling some whiplash, right? The standings look like they got thrown in a blender. So instead of just the usual hot takes, we're gonna dig into the cold, hard numbers to figure out what on earth just happened.
I mean, seriously, it felt like someone just spilled a bucket of pure randomness all over the league. So the big question is, was it really just random? Or is there something else going on? A story kinda hidden in the data that explains all this madness? Let's find out.
Let's kick things off at the standings, because this is where things got really weird. And you know what? A tale of two teams in the very same division basically sums up the entire week.
And wow, this chart just lays the chaos bare. I mean, just look at this split. The Brewers, they were on an absolute heater, looking unbeatable. And at the exact same time, their biggest rivals, the Cubs, totally melted down. For a single week in the middle of a tight playoff race, a swing this big is just wild. And hey, this craziness wasn't just contained to the NL Central. The whole wildcard race felt like a game of musical chairs. You had teams like the Blue Jays and the Dodgers swapping playoff spots almost every single day. Talk about adding some anxiety for the fans, right?
But you want to talk about a wild story? Let's talk about the Boston Red Sox. A month ago, they were basically written off, just languishing below .500. And now? Well, like one analyst put it so perfectly, they're so hot, even their pessimists are sweating. They didn't just hop back in the race, they blew the doors clean off.
So, this begs the question, right? Was this all just a fluke? Some kind of random lucky streak? Well, the data, it tells a very different story. So it's time to geek out a bit. Let's look at what was really happening behind the scenes.
Okay, first things first, we got to get our heads around a key stat. It's called BABIP. That stands for batting average on balls in play. And look, in simple terms, it's just a way to measure what happens after a batter hits the ball, but before it leaves the park. So if a pitcher has a really high BABIP, it means a ton of those batted balls are dropping in for hits. And a lot of the time, we just chalk that up to bad luck, or maybe some shaky defense behind it.
Okay, so with that in mind, check out this Brewers anomaly. Get this. Their pitchers were getting hit with what we'd call bad luck. Opponents were hitting over .330 on balls in play against them. Normally, that would absolutely wreck a team's ERA. But not the Brewers. Nope. Their ERA for the week was an insane sub 2.00. What does that tell you? This wasn't luck. This was pure, uncut, dominant skill, just steamrolling the odds.
All right, so on one side, you've got skill beating the odds. And on the other? Well, you get a story of what you might call sabermetric heartbreak. This is that gut-wrenching feeling when a player does everything right, and the universe, the physics of the game, just says, nope.
Case in point, Trey Turner. Just put yourself in his shoes for a second. You are absolutely crushing the ball. I mean, you're leading the entire league in what we call hard hit outs. You are doing your job perfectly. And your reward for all that beautiful hard contact? A batting average of .045. It is the most painful, perfect example of a great process leading to absolutely zero results. Ouch.
Okay, so the chaos wasn't just at the plate or on the mound. There was another ingredient in this stew of weirdness that was driving defenses absolutely nuts all week long, and that was pure, unadulterated speed on the base paths.
And the poster child for this all year? It's gotta be the Seattle Mariners. They've been a total blur on the bases, already racking up an incredible 122 steals this season. And they didn't slow down this week either. They kept their foot pinned to the floor, leading the league again with 15 steals. But here's what's so fascinating. Their team on-base percentage, it's just average. So this isn't a team that's getting on base way more than everyone else. Nope. Their entire game plan is just pure, calculated aggression the second they get on first.
And this is so cool because it shows there was more than one way to stir the pot this week. You had the Mariners sprinting and causing chaos with their legs, and then you had other surging teams like the Red Sox and the Astros who were just slugging it out, relying on pure power to win. Totally different philosophies, same chaotic outcome.
All right, so let's pull all these threads together. We've got pitching that seems to defy logic, luck that'll break your heart, and pure speed on the bases. What does it all mean?
what's the real story behind this wild, wild week?
Well, when you really look past the simple wins and losses, the week's narrative, it actually becomes crystal clear. It's a story told in 3 acts. First, you have sheer skill just defying luck. That's the Brewers' pitching. Then, you have physics breaking hearts. That's Trey Turner's hard hitouts. And finally, you've got pure aggression creating chaos, and that's the Mariners stealing bases left and right. So, at the end of the day, the craziness we all saw and felt, it wasn't just random noise. It was a total, perfect storm. You had all these different statistical stories, all these undercurrents, hitting at the exact same moment. And what you got was a week of baseball that was as thrilling as it was completely unpredictable.
And all of this leaves us with one massive question hanging in the air, especially for a team like the Red Sox. Is their insane surge a sign of something real, something sustainable and driven by analytics? Or are they just riding a ridiculously hot streak that's bound to cool off eventually? That's the story we'll all be watching.